like you've heard my colleagues do on this panel, it's Donald Trump, baby.
Yep.
It's all about Donald Trump, right? The old pivot. We're not going to talk about what's going on in Somalia and not going to talk about what's going on in Minnesota with this massive fraud scandal. We're going to talk about Donald Trump. With my remaining seconds, can we play the video I have, Mr. Chairman?
Hey, Patriots, buckle up. This one's straight fire. The media screaming this story is about racism, but there's an old political proverb that nails it perfectly. When the facts are against you, pound the table. And today, Democrats did exactly that, right up until Eli Crane hit play on that video. The second it rolled, the room went dead silent. No shouting, no pivots, no Trump rants. Just cold, hard facts about massive fraud, taxpayer money vanishing, and a scandal so explosive they don't even want to say its name out loud. Stick with me, this hearing exposed something way bigger than one program in Minnesota. It shows exactly why they're panicking and why they're losing.
This, of course, comes after weeks of viral videos from a young man YouTuber who was literally creeping around daycares by himself, making claims about fraud that were not there. And then the vice president and the FBI director were retweeting these videos without even verifying if they were true. So we're not accusing people of being xenophobic and racist. They are being xenophobic and racist, including the President of the United States. And I want to say, for one, that I stand with the Somali and the immigrant community standing here today.
Mr. Hudson, are you just hearing from Republicans on this, or are Democrat constituents like, oh my God, I'm struggling to put my kids in school, struggling to make ends meet, and my tax dollars are being robbed by people, and then they're sending it all over the place, and this is complete fraud. What is going on, and why hasn't anything been done about it?
I'll give you a personal example. So my family, my in-laws in particular, are politically diverse. A lot of them vote for Democrats, and they're fairly apolitical. They're not like me, all plugged in. And so I kind of use them as a bellwether for what the people are thinking. Across the board, everybody is upset about this fraud.
And I'm guessing when you guys bring this up, whether it's to the Walz administration, whether it's to the AG, the number one thing that comes back at you is you're a racist, you're a white supremacist, or you're an Islamophobe. As we've seen Governor Walz now trying to answer for these questions, he's doing it at the national level. Do you guys hear the same thing at the state level as well?
Yes, absolutely. They always pivot to the divisive. As I stated in my opening statement, it's diversion, right? We're going to talk about personalities. We're going to talk about partisan politics. We're going to find some way to get people yelling at each other rather than looking at the problem.
Or, like you've heard my colleagues do on this panel, it's Donald Trump, baby.
Yep.
It's all about Donald Trump, right? The old pivot. We're not going to talk about what's going on in Somalia and not going to talk about what's going on in Minnesota with this massive fraud scandal. We're going to talk about Donald Trump. With my remaining seconds, can we play the video I have, Mr. Chairman?
horta aad iyo aad aan ugu faraxsanahay in maanta safaari aan soo gaarnay sida dadka badan ay u og yihiin ciyaalkeena yaryar ilaa iyo number la eg 20 milyan oo ciyaal iskooley ah waxay cuntadooda ka helaan iskoolka kaliyo marka waxaan fursad u helnay in aan sharci soo gudbino oo la dhahayo Meals Act oo u fududeynayo in waqtigaanay pandemic aan ku jirno oo dhalinyarada iskoolka aynan joogin oo guryahooda ay joogaan aynan gaajoonin oo familkoodi wili ay fursad u helaan in cunto ay helaan oo meelo qaarkood laga qaybinayo ay cuntada ka soo qaadan karaan marka aadaan ugu mahadcelinayaa safari in ay tahay meelaha sayti oo diyaarinooyo cunto maalin kasto dhalinyarada ciyaalkii iyo familkoodina ku taakuleynaayo cuntada sayti maalintii kaliyo safari waxay ay cunto siisaa 2300 oo ciyaal ah iyo familkooda taas waa mid muhiim ah sida aad u ogtihiin dhalinyaro badan gaajo ku nool wadankaanayti ama familkooda fursad u helin in quraac qada iyo casho ay siiso marka in qadadaasaytii ay meel ka helaan aaday u muhiimsan tahay bishaan ramadaanka oo familiyaalkeena badan iyagoo aan shaqo haysanin iyagoo aan taakulayn kale helaynin in aynan ka walwalin ciyaalkooda yaryar sidii ay qada ku siin lahaayeen waa muhiim marka waxaan u mahadcelinayaa safariyo kaleete iyo dadka badan oo maalin ilaahay keeno fursad u qaatay in ay u volunteer gareeyaan oo ay taakuleeyaan familiyaalka
One thing that is so alarming is the reporting that many of these fraudulent companies are then donating the stolen money back to the same Democrats that are protecting them and advocate for these very programs. Is that correct, Mr. Hudson?
I would agree with that statement.
Well, we just had one of my Democrat colleagues said these are just opinions. You know, are these guys donating money back to Democrats?
Yes, they are.
I'd like to enter into the record, Mr. Chairman, an article from Breitbart News saying, with the title being Database Searches Show Somali Fraudsters Funding Democrat Politicians. So these aren't opinions.
Without objection.
There's actually reporting on this. Are you guys aware? You guys are elected officials in Minnesota, right? Are you guys aware of the reporting that some of the stolen money is getting funneled back to the Islamic terror group Al-Shabaab in Somalia? Mr. Robbins.
Yes, sir. And we have evidence of it going back as far as 2012, where a man was convicted of sending $21,000 to Al-Shabaab. In 2011, 2 Minnesota women were convicted of sending money to different groups. Someone else, we have multiple references of how the Al-Shabaab takes a cut when the money gets to Somalia through the Hawala network. So I think there's ample evidence on this and federal convictions.
Yeah, that's outrageous.
In that congressional hearing, Representative Eli Crane didn't yell or grandstand. He simply played video evidence tied to the ongoing Minnesota daycare and food program scandal, billions in taxpayer dollars allegedly stolen, laundered, and worse. And immediately, the usual Democrat playbook kicked in. Not denial, not facts, not accountability, just deflection on steroids. You're xenophobic. You're racist. You're Islamophobic. The claim wasn't the fraud didn't happen. The claim was noticing it as immoral. Crane pressed them with one simple, devastating question. Are only Republicans upset about this? The answer. Crystal clear. Minnesota officials admitted Democrat voters, including moderate, everyday families, are furious. Parents struggling to afford child care are watching their tax dollars evaporate into fraudulent operations, while nothing gets fixed. And every time the issue gets raised at the state level, same tired response. You're racist. You're divisive. You're the problem. But Crane went further, and that's when the room froze. He entered Breitbart reporting into the record. Individuals tied to these fraud cases were donating money right back to Democrat politicians. The same politicians defending those programs. That's not opinion. That's documented campaign finance data. Even more chilling, testimony confirmed portions of this money were allegedly funneled overseas, including to regions controlled by Al-Shabaab, using informal money transfer networks. Federal convictions going back over a decade were cited as evidence. At that point, the hearing wasn't about politics anymore. It was about systemic abuse. Taxpayer money meant to help families during the pandemic was allegedly laundered through fake nonprofits, redirected into political campaigns, and in some cases sent overseas to dangerous places. And when lawmakers finally ask questions, the response isn't reform. It's character assassination. This is the call rot. If corruption gets wrapped in the language of charity, Democrats will defend it forever. They claim without government-run programs, help won't reach communities. But what we're seeing isn't charity, it's controlled redistribution, where waste and fraud get tolerated because they benefit the political class. And when citizens notice, they're told to shut up and sit down. That's exactly why this moment hit so hard. Once that video played, the table pounding stopped cold. No more screaming. No more deflections. Just silence and the weight of the truth. This wasn't a hearing. It was exposure. Eli Crane didn't need insults. He used documentation and it left them speechless. The left tried to pound the table, but the facts just pounded back harder. What do you think, patriots? Was this the savage takedown that finally cracked their shield? Or are they still gonna try spinning it? Drop it in the comments right now. Was Crane's video drop the McDrop of the year? Smash that like button if you're done with the hypocrisy and ready for real accountability. Hit subscribe, ring the bell. We're exposing these scandals every single day. No filter. America first. Always. Catch you in the next one.